Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? You know what? After I did my recap last week, I got to thinking about Tamra. And I said, maybe Tamra is a cheater. You know, we keep hearing these rumors that Eddie is gay and blah, blah, blah. And maybe he's boring to her. Maybe she needs a little something new. And working in the gyms with people who working in the gyms, you seeing them sweat, half naked, looking good. Them pheromones be shooting all over the room. Hey, maybe Tamara is a little jelly. Just because she married don't mean she don't want to pursue something else. And people do it all the time. Didn't the CEO and the HR CEO chief or whatever just got busted at the Coldplay concert? But baby, that was a good kiki for the week. But child, and then Tamara comes back and say she misdiagnosed herself. You can't do that, Amanda Seals, and think you're autistic. Well, anyway, Tamara says she's not. I think she was just trying to gain some kind of sympathy so Ryan wouldn't sue her or whatever. But maybe there's something to that. Maybe Tamara is a little jelly. Honey, okay? And baby, with the way I kikied and I ha-ha'd when Tamara said Jen's lips look like hot dogs now, girl. girl. Welcome, besties. You are now behind the shade, and thanks for joining me. I recap your favorite reality shows weekly. Now let's kiki and ha and get into another episode. It's the Real Housewives of Orange County, the original, the first people to do it. Orange County. It's season 19, y'all. 19. I've been watching Orange County since day one. Okay. It's season 2, episode 2. I'm sorry. Old faces, new places. How would you rate this week's episode, besties? It was good to me. Entertaining, laughing, got some things done, resolved some fighting, some standing on business, 10 toes down. I'm trying not to compare it to Salt Lake City because they get 10, 10, 10s. I hope next season they can keep that. But I'll give this a 9.5. Besties, drop down in the comments to let me know what you thought about this week's episode. Please like the video and make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure your notification bell is on. Ding dong. So the episode starts. Shannon having a hard time looking how to try to figure out the airport and how to figure out where Sophie is. And it's like, I'm sure the Orange County airport is small. But some people, Shannon is dingy. And I have to bring this up. I wasn't even going to start off with this, but this is going to be Shannon's storyline this season. She's going to be talking to either her daughters or that dog. Okay? So we got to bring it in because that's what we're getting. And I'm okay with that, coming off the backs of Tamra telling her every episode that she's an alcoholic. I'm okay with that. Okay, so I guess she picked Sophie up. She found her. Good. So Emily, Gina, and Tamra, they go body rolling, honey. It's a full body draining massage situation. All the folks in Orange County, they are all into wellness activities and plastic surgery, honey. So this is what they do. So Gina tells Tamra she's proud of her for trying to get back on track with Shannon. After she told her every episode that she was an alcoholic, that's what people should do. And you should not be proud of Tamra that she's, righting her wrongs. What are you proud about? That's nothing to be proud about, Gina, but go off. And so none of them believe Katie. They all think she's lying. And, Gina is just letting her know that she's hurting everyone. Gina's like, we're just trying to address some things, and Katie over here is guilty as all get out, but she wants to play victim, right? So Katie meets up with Shannon And she thanks her for sticking up for her. And so Kate explains when the ladies scream at her, it's a trauma response stemming from her ex-husband. So she shuts down. She explained that normally, like when someone argues, you argue back. And she said that would just make things worse. And I hope she's not a victim of DV, but it sounds like it, huh? So she says, being that it never gets better when you go in and argue. So when people scream, she just shuts down. Then she says she's not smart enough to be as calculated as Shannon thinks she is to plan what she'll do or say. And I'm sitting here like, Katie, you are just like a pathological liar. You don't know when you're going to say it, how you're going to say it, who you're going to blame. You don't know when, how. You just know you're going to do it. Girl, you need help. You really do. And I really believe this comes from being adopted by a white family. You're Asian. You probably all your childhood have been trying to connect and relate, and you couldn't, even though I'm sure they showered you with love, because you have to have a certain amount of love to adopt a kid, and then for them to be a different and come from a different culture, but it still doesn't make it to, you still may not be feeling all the voice in the child. So there's something stemming from, I think, that, maybe you just have a sense of not relating, not connecting, wondering where your parent, why. Maybe you just grew up with the why. Maybe that if any of you are adopted, maybe you can relate or shine some knowledge, but it just seems like maybe there was just something wasn't right, and it just makes you go off into a world where you lie about your reality to survive or to create a life, or a life that you want to live, or whatever. We'll get off that, but it just seems like maybe that's where that's stemming from, right? So, child, so Shannon's like, look, do you want to be friends with these girls or not? Because I'm riding for you and I need you to just do what I'm saying. So Katie's like, yes. So Shannon is like, well, we need to move forward because I want everything to be okay. Shannon is like, she's on her healing journey. She just wants peace and fun, I'm assuming, right? Shannon has compassion for Katie because she's been in her shoes before with all the girls, in the previous seasons. But she's trying to tell Katie, they talk about the buts. You can't apologize for something and then put a but on it. I'm going to apologize to Tamra, but she, no, the but, deletes everything you said before that. So Shannon is just trying to break her from the butts because those are just excuses. Okay? In your little warped reality, Miss Katie. Tamara tells the girls that Katie was filming Shannon at their gallery shoot. And we didn't know what the gallery shoot was. Besties, do you know? So after the season wraps, they do the promo pictures, like the pictures we use for the thumbnails and all that. They shoot those pictures after that. So, honey, Shannon was mad that Alexis was there. And she had a full blown out meltdown, cussing, screaming. And so, how Katie knows is Shannon and Katie shared a dressing room together. So that's why, if you're wondering, because I was wondering, well, wasn't Tamra and the rest and Alexis there? Like, why didn't they hear it? So she must have had this, in the dressing room. And so, we already know that we've heard that Shannon is a nightmare behind the scenes. Production has said that already. Uh-huh. They say, honey, Shannon is something else. Whew. So, where am I? So, Katie filmed Shannon having her meltdown and showed it to Alexis. Girl, I know you lying. Katie. Child. Okay. And that is so scandalous because Shannon is in litigation with John and Alexis. And Katie knows this. Katie was there all last season. She knows about the lawsuit. She was sitting next to Shannon in Sonoma when Shannon was just at her lowest. I mean, come on, Katie. What are you doing? So Shannon is at home with Sophie, and she's discussing her other Bravo show that's about to air, Love Hotel. I didn't stick with it. I watched one episode and I was like, but Love Hotel, it was with Shannon, was Giselle, Ashley, and Luann from New York. Yeah, they were looking for love, honey. So, Love Hotel. So she met a few male friends, and she says if she ever needs a date, she can call one of the homies, and they'll, escort her on wherever she wants to do, whatever, where she wants to go. And we know, well, she spoke about a suitor that she did get from the show. So I guess you have to end up with someone at the end of the show. And they dated for a few months. Some people say he was, a little weird, but they say Shannon is weird too, whatever. It didn't work out. Shannon was more upset about it than she cared to lead on, but she is not interested in dating. She's kissed a few more frogs in the last couple of months, and all she sees are red flags, so she's just fine. She's okay. Ciao. Shane picks up Emily from her therapy session. And I'm sitting here wondering, I know that you may need, your single therapy, just you. And okay, but I'm like, how come he ain't going? Because she was saying how she was discussing Luke, her 10-year-old, who she discussed last week, who has the eating disorder because of his autism. How come Shane wasn't with her is what I wanted to know. Why wasn't he at therapy with her? Why didn't he go? So Luke is on the decline. Emily tells us. She said that they went to the movies, and Luke took every French fry and had to turn her flashlight on her phone, and he had to inspect every French fry before he ate them. And I know this is just heart wrenching, hard to deal with. You feel like a failure, maybe some parent guilt, and you just don't know what to do. She doesn't know how to handle this. She doesn't know if he should be in different classes, a different school. But she says she meets with his teachers. And I'm thinking, well, wouldn't the teachers and you develop some type of strategy? Like maybe some different classes would, maybe some outreach programs, maybe some, I don't know. But okay, she's working on it. So she tells us one day Luke didn't even want to go to school. She had to literally pull him out of the bed, right? Dress him, brush his teeth, and get him off to school because he did not want to go. Now, Shane is in the car. She's talking, pouring her heart out, having mom guilt. He's like looking out the window, detached, not interested, waiting on her to finish. And I'm sitting here wondering, is Shane autistic? Like, Shane, can you come back to the conversation? You're not even there. So his issue was like, you're saying it, mom, like you put it all on you, like I'm not here. And it's like, Shane, that's not what she's doing. But see, had you been in therapy with her, maybe you would understand more. But being that you're just picking her up and dropping her off, and you looking out the window, looking probably at other women while she's pouring her heart out, are you autistic, Shane? Shoot. So Shane just feels like with information that they'll collect and learn along the way, they will improve his daily living. And he says him and Emily are not on the same page because she wants a quick fix, and he knows that this won't be quick. And so they may kind of be a little, button heads a little bit in their marriage. So, child, over at Ryan's house, you know, that big old beautiful home. Why does Ryan wear jackets all the time? He's in his house hosting and he has a jacket on. Is Jen menopausal? She got the air on too low and he's cold. Well, anyway, Katie and her husband Matt go over to Ryan and Jen's. It's must be a Tuesday, child. They getting ready to have tacos and tequila, honey. So remember, Katie's husband was scared of Ryan based off all the rumors of him, the FBI following him, and he may be getting arrested any day, and he into scamming and all the gambling and all the stuff he's into. And so Matt somehow has become friendly with Ryan. So he is no longer scared of him. Heather goes over to Tamra's house. Child, let's just chalk it up that Heather is clumsy. Okay. First of all, Tamra's getting her kitchen remodeled, child. So they had to go upstairs and bust out the champagne bottles with the onion rings. Child, Heather is in her bedroom pouring champagne everywhere except for in the glass. It's like Heather. So they did a flashback to last season when they went out of town and she was, spilling the espresso martini all over the kitchen. So here she's pouring champagne all over Eddie's side of the bed. So Heather tells Tamra that she was out with Gretchen, and Heather's like, "Oh goodness." And so Heather explains that she's like, "Look, I met Gretchen 14 years ago, the same time I met Tamra, and yeah, Tamara and her are not on good terms. But guess who's on good terms with Gretchen now? Guess who's friends with Gretchen now that Tamara's not? Heather is her friend. Heather's like, I'm vindicated. I met y'all at the same time. I know y'all ain't cool, but I could still be her friend because we all met. But child, Katie is friends with Gretchen. And let me just tell y'all how excited I am that Gretchen is back on my TV. I loved Gretchen. Loved, 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 loved her. Okay. Now she ain't perfect because we're going to get into that when we get into Slade in 2 seconds. But I always liked Gretchen, right? So I'm so happy she's here. I was just smiling and I just couldn't help it. And I'm glad that this is gonna be a good season because what Gretchen is bringing, and she's just a friend of, but what Gretchen is bringing, she's not afraid of Tamra like Emily and Gina are, and Shannon and Jen and Katie, and not Heather, but Gretchen is gonna come for Tamara's neck. She gonna hold Tamara accountable. She gonna stand 10 toes down. I'm loving it, honey. So, okay, y'all understand. I'm excited. I'm getting excited. So Katie and her are cool, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Gretchen told us, honey, it has been 11 years since she's been on the show. I'm like, oh my gosh, Gretchen, finally. I mean, good God heard my prayer. She is still with Shane's old deadbeat self. They've been together like 16 years, child. But let's get back. Jen reached out to Gretchen, hit her up in her DMs on Instagram to ask her how should she deal with Tamra. SOS. How to deal with Tamra. Gretchen says a lot of the housewives reach out to her and ask her how to deal with Tamra. And I was like, who? Who reached out to you? Who? So Gretchen told Jen to run. Now, I did not know that Gretchen and Slade had a daughter. They have a 5-year-old daughter named Skylar Gray, child. They are not married, but they've been together for 16 years. So the issue is Slade a deadbeat because Tamara said it on her podcast. And so what we remember, you guys, do y'all remember? Let's go back. Slade used to be an investment banker. He has been married before Joe. Remember, he was married to Joe in the show, but he was married before because that's who he had kids with. Him and Joe didn't have kids. I don't think they were together long enough. Hi, Joe. How are you, hon? Um, so Slade is a deadbeat dad. He's kind of like the white Brian McKnight. He owes plenty of child support, and that's why him and Gretchen are not married. Now, Gretchen, how does she get her money? She's an influencer. She owns a handbag company, and I think they were trying to get into the cannabis thing, but they were scamming the cannabis dosage and wasn't putting out with the anyway, something. So Slade doesn't work. He is Gretchen's assistant. He works under her company, it's under her umbrella of companies or whatever. So pretty much he getting paid under the table, so that way he don't ever have to pay child support. Blah 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 blah. This girl. So back to what Tamra, when Heather brought up Gretchen, Tamra was asking, "Oh, is her nose real?" Because she do face tunes with her nose on her pictures, and so Heather was like, "She's beautiful. You don't have to worry." So Gretchen tells us, honey, she has not gotten any plastic surgery done. I said, girl, I know you lying. So they did all the little pictures from back then to now. And I'm like, Gretchen, stop it. Gretchen, stop it. She says she ain't even got her chest, her boobs done. Okay, that's fine. But Gretchen, stop lying. So that's that on Shane. So let's just go ahead. He is a deadbeat. We'll get into that. So Jen explained that the girls came down on Katie at the Golden Door last week. And so they're all saying, she's dangerous. Child, but they're scared of Tamra. And Tamra tells lies. She be lying. Tamra be lying. Okay? So Tamra feels like Jen is reaching out to people who don't like her. You know, Gretchen. It feels that Jen is very insecure and she feels like Jen is doing everything she's done in her life. Like she's copying her, like she's emulating her. She wants to be her. And Heather disagrees. Heather was in her confessional being shady. She was like, I could think of a whole bunch of other people that Jen can imitate. Like what? I was like, Heather, don't have me in here dying, laughing on a Thursday night, girl. You and your shady confessionals. So Gretchen asked Jen, where does she stand with Tamra? And Jen was like, we don't stand. We don't. We don't stand. We don't sit, honey. But she said she will support Katie's friendship with Tamra. I was like, how grown of you? Okay, she ain't no hater. She ain't no hater. So Gretchen tells Katie that, she hopes that she has a better experience with Tamra than she'd had. And so, because Tamra, she is still holding grudges about Tamra talking about Slade, because she said if you Google Slade, deadbeat comes up on Google. But sorry, Gretchen, he is a deadbeat. He's been a deadbeat, but his son passed away from brain cancer. And it's just pretty much, Tamara, you didn't have to go low. Because Tamara just said in this episode that we don't come for the kids, and you went for the kids. And I don't want to hear like this is the same situation how Britt questioned Shamia's parenting when her daughter was sick when it was in Grenada and she stopped in Miami and had drinks instead of going straight home. Let's not get into this where, Tamara wasn't talking about the son. Tamara was talking about his fatherhood. No, we gonna leave the kids. Stop bringing up the children, especially when the kids have an illness or have passed away. But don't bring up the kids. Just don't do it. Ain't that why Emily, man, and her nanny suing her? Can you imagine an attorney is suing, but you don't want to represent yourself because that looks, I understand that. So, yeah, so Tamara was on her podcast talking about how Slade was a deadbeat. And then when the son passed away, the mother had to do a GoFundMe for his funeral services. And I'm like, well, that ain't on, it can be on Slade, but it's on her too. Y'all don't have life insurance? And probably not, clearly, but that's what everybody does. If you don't have life insurance, you go to the GoFundMe. Everybody's doing it, been doing it, gonna do it, gonna keep doing it. Is GoFundMe still around, besties? Because now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't seen a GoFundMe campaign in a long time. I've donated a few times to for funeral arrangements. You either do it or you don't. Okay, that's that. Everybody just is not prepared. People can't handle that. Okay, and people just trying to get by. Whatever the reason, don't go on your podcast talking about him after their son passes away. So Gretchen feels like Tamra is soulless. No soul, soulless. Man. Whoo. So Tamra is over there with her beef, talking about her beef with Gretchen. She's mad about something that happened 1800 years ago. At least 15. Like seriously, let me pull it up. Every time you look in, oh my gosh. How come every time you looking for pictures? Here we go. Okay, so Tamara's beef with Gretchen is that Gretchen reached out to her daughter Sydney. Sydney is a daughter that don't fool with Tamara at all, and so Sydney had posted something ugly about Tamara, and then Gretchen responded, and Tamara ain't never gonna let it go. So what was said? It's a long post. This is back in 2000. It was October 21st, 2015. And the highlight is the reason I do not live with my mom is not because of my dad. It is because she is mentally, verbally abusive and not a mother to me. And Gretchen responded, Gretchen Christine Rossi responded and said, "You have no idea how your brave words are helping so many who have been wronged by your mother's manipulation and lies as well." Ooh, baby. So Heather is like, she wants them to move on. It's been 15 years. Can we just move on and have fun? Yes, but we have to move on in a grown way. We got to be accountable and we got to change our behavior. Then the fun can happen. Gretchen hopes Tamara is in therapy for real because she is a mess. Yeah. She just like, I hope she getting therapy. Well, everyone's getting ready for Katie's hot pot event, and Tamra is over there with her glam squad, and she's just like, the glam squad is like, you think um Gretchen has changed? I hope she's changed. People can change. Tamara looked at her with the baddest side eye she had, and she was like, "Child, I'm gonna be matching Gretchen's energy. If she gonna be cool, I'm gonna be cool. If not, I'm gonna give her what she give him." I was like, "Girl, bye." Not Tamara matching people's energy, girl. Your energy is already in HELL. But okay, let's go off. So Jen and Gretchen joined all the ladies at the hot pot restaurant. What was it called? Nice to meet you or something? I was like, is that wait, what? So here go Gretchen and Tamra. So Tamara comes, Gretchen comes in and she speaks to Tamara, and Tamara speaks back with this fake enthusiasm, right? So then Tamara decides to reintroduce herself to Gretchen. "Hi, I'm Tamara Judge." And so, Gretchen did the same thing. "Hi, and I'm Gretchen Rossi." They shake hands. "I know it's been a long time. How long has it been?" "Oh, it's been about 12 years. It sure has." Gretchen is like, "I ain't buying this mess." I said, okay, she did not come to play. And you know who else could take notes about Gretchen's energy, what she's bringing as a friend of? That's Cynthia Bailey. Cynthia was playing it too in the middle. She was trying to be just the fairy godmother. No, girl, you're supposed to come and add the little sprinkle of spice. You know how salt wakes up a meal? You were supposed to be the salt, Cynthia. You and there being Miss Dash. You were supposed to be the garlic salt, honey, the Laurie's. But okay. So Emily tells us that she met Gretchen at her 40th birthday party, honey, and they was having a time because Gretchen is a time. She's hecka cool. But baby, Emily later learned that her and Tamara had beef. And honey, Emily had to pick what side she was gonna be on. Tamara wasn't having it. So she picked Tamara's side, her castmate. So Katie tells the group that she has regrets about things that she has done, and then she thanks them for coming. Gina, she goes right on in, honey. She's keeping the show moving forward, okay? Gina, like, that's cool, 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 but I'm questioning everything about you, Katie. Example, Tamra, the blogger. Huh? So Tamara says, wait a minute. Katie came to my house. She explained everything to me and she owned up to it. Learn from her, Tamara, because Gretchen is coming for you. She wants the same from you. Explaining everything, coming to the person, and owning it. Learn from Katie. Okay, Katie, you might be getting on my good graces, but for right now, So Katie says she caught the blogger on Instagram. Who does that? Don't call me on no social media platform. If you do not have my number, you don't have my number, okay? Don't call me. You can send a message, but don't call me. That is weird. So she said Tamara is suing her, and Katie told the blogger, well, you need to take that post down because Tamara may sue her. So Gina is like, it's upsetting to me because you don't remember the conversation with someone who created a huge problem for me. Then you made it seem like we're all ganging up on you, at the Golden Door last week. And we were just trying to get to the bottom of this. So then Shannon voices her opinion on how she hates when everybody gangs up on one person. She just keeps saying, I just don't like that everyone is coming for her all at once. Shut up, Shannon. Shut up. That girl be lying. She be lying. Oh. So then Gina tells Shannon about Katie filming her at the gallery shoot. Ooh. And how she sent it. She showed it to Alexis. OMG. So Katie was said, this is what Katie says. There is no video that I recorded of Shannon. That is what she said verbatim. Shannon's like, wait, what? No, 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 no. Shannon like, what? And I'm like, Shannon, I know you're trying to be at peace and all that, but I really needed you to get active. It was time for you to get active. But if you saw the previews for the next week's episode, honey, you see Shannon gets active next week. But right here, she could have flipped that table over and I would have been mad at her. Nope. She should have flipped that table. Like, lady, I've been seeing her defending you, being, on your side, trying to go against everybody to help you get back into the group. And this what you do? And why is this girl, Katie, always recording people? What is your fascination with recording people? Child. Gina was like, yes. And this is all coming from Tamra. I'm like, well, throw her under the bus, why don't you? Tamra's like, yeah, you actually told me you did that. And so everyone is just sitting there in shock, right? So then Tamra said that her, Katie, and Alexis were together and they were talking about how Shannon was being nasty or whatever. And Katie told, her the whole story, and then they just left it there. And I'm like, no, Tamara, you left it there. But no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Katie left it there. Tamara, you didn't leave it there because you went back and told Heather. It wasn't left nowhere. Everybody took it and ran with it. So here go Katie. She says, well, I sent the video to Matt, her husband. Wait a minute, honey, you just said you didn't record anything. So what are you talking about now? Girl, this girl just be lying. So Shannon is feeling some kind of way, because Katie was speaking to Alexis about her. And, Shannon has to always get up and go to the bathroom. She always got to get up and go process, walk it off, come back, and decide what she going to do. So really, Shannon's big deal is, you're doing this and they suing me. I'm in this litigation lawsuit with these people and you over there just stirring the pot and I'm defending you. And Katie knows Shannon's pain. She was there all last season. Shannon was very transparent about her dealings, So Katie says no one saw it besides her husband. No one saw what? Because you just said you didn't record nothing. So Emily is like, well, how does Alexis even know about it? since you didn't do nothing, since only Matt saw it. So Katie was like, she talking about her and Jen, we discussed it with Alexis. Child, Jen is like, wait, what? No, 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 what? And I don't know if I believe Jen. Besties, let me know. Do you believe Jen? Jen was like, I never heard of that. Tamra's like, well, Alexis said she played it for both of you. That's what Alexis said. She said Katie played the video for you and her. Jenna's like, I didn't know anything about it. I'm like, now wait a minute. Everybody lying. So Gina and Heather, they just both like, she said you were there. They like, why are you lying about this again? So Katie says she was mad that day, honey. So she always does stuff out of being angry, out of being mad. She becomes vindictive when you piss her off, okay? So she was mad that day because it was supposed to be a fun day, and here come old Shannon with her mess. She came in there yelling and causing trauma for people. And so Shannon clocked Katie. She was like, um, so you wanted Matt to hear me be upset? I'm like, exactly. Get to the bottom of it. Don't let stuff slide. Ask the questions. So you wanted Matt to see me spazzing out. That's what you were doing. And before now, Katie had plenty of time as they were getting closer. Katie, you didn't feel the need that you needed to tell Shannon this before it came back like this. You didn't feel like you needed to get in front of this. You didn't feel like, oh, well, let me tell you now. Oh, you just a dirty old dog. She's just a dog. Just a dog. Oh, I don't like Katie. Oh my goodness, she better change her ways. So then Katie apologizes to Shannon. I don't even know what Shannon thought of it. I think Shannon said, I gotta go. So then Gretchen asked Tam the questions, and I love this. She want to get to the bottom of it. So she said, well, how did you know? So how did you know again, Tamra? And so Gretchen feels like Tamra is very, very shady. You got to ask Tamra the questions. So then Tamra's like, well, why was that even brought up while you were talking to Alexis? I'm like, okay, Gretchen, get into it. So here go Tamra. Because Alexis and Shannon don't get along, she should have said, I was friends with Alexis. That's my girl, and we gonna talk about Shannon. So what she said was they don't get along, and Alexis says she heard Shannon was freaking out at the green screen. Shannon goes to the bathroom. This is when Shannon gets up and go to the bathroom. Gina tells Katie to stop trying to hurt them. Like, stop hurting us. Look what you're doing. You causing all this this havoc. So Katie says she thought this was like an eat or be eaten situation. But now she sees things differently. So I was sitting here, besties, like, well, where did you get that idea from that this is a eat or be eaten situation? And I said, Sutton from Beverly Hills, because Sutton brought Katie around the girls even before she came on the show, because they're friends. Remember, you guys? Sutton told her that, because Sutton over there getting eaten up every day. So Katie sees things differently now. Then she apologizes. And so Gina says she believes Katie this time. And so she apologizes to Katie also because she said, girl, because I've been saying F you a lot. I've been saying F you this, F you that. Katie's like, I'm sure. So Shannon comes back to the table. She says goodbye because she feels betrayed by Katie. She's processed and she's out. Okay. Jen says that they agreed to move on, but they are holding Katie to the fire. She needs to be held to the fire. Now she's throwing you under the bus, but maybe you're lying. Maybe that's why you guys are friends, because y'all both be lying. You are, yeah, you be lying to Jen. So Emily reminds her since we all apologizing on this apology tour, Emily, like, she want her apology too. So she reminds Katie that Katie gave the information up about her kids to the bloggers, and Katie denies it. So then Gretchen says Tamra did that too. That's what y'all do on these shows. So some of the ladies, they want to move forward because everybody talks about everybody. It just gets to that. Can we just move on? We all talk about each other. So, and what? And scene. So Gretchen had to clear some things up with Tamara Honey. But you talked about Slade, calling him a piece of beep and a deadbeat, Brian McKnight. And RIP to Brian McKnight's son, because he passed away, I think, from brain cancer too. Yeah. And Slade is the white Brian McKnight. Okay. And so that's when Gretchen tells us that if you Google Slade, all that deadbeat stuff still comes up. And she has had resentment for Tamra ever since, baby. Tamra said it's been 15 years. Jen is over there taking up for Gretchen. And then Gretchen calls Tamra a liar. She said, that's why you're being sued by Alexis and and you got sued by Alexis and Jim back in the day. Ryan about to sue you again. You're just a liar. Oh, and I cannot believe I really used to like Tamra. She ain't too bad, but I used to be a Tamra stance for real, but I'm down with Gretchen, honey. But Tamra's okay. She's good for TV, I'll say, right? So, child, when Jen said you so Jen's taking up for Gretchen, right? And that is putting Tamra in a tailspin, honey. She is ready to be activated, honey. So she starts screaming and hollering and just pitching a fit. She contacted my daughter. She contacted my daughter. Gretchen said, it's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. Child, and when she said that, Gretchen was leaning over her table, like her breast was, child, over there by her water, the glass of water. It was all in the dishes. She was leaned over. She was looking Tamra in her face, and she was not playing. She was standing, sitting, 10 toes down, and she was going to hold Tamra's feet to the fire. Y'all want me back? You said it's been 11 years. Oh, I got that stank and that funk for you, Tamra. Tamra said, okay, evil. Tamra folded, honey. Good job, Gretchen. Tamra folded in front of everybody. And guess who over there being quiet? Gina and Emily, they over there like, ooh, 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 because they scared of Tamra. And they like, ooh, Gretchen that came in here and shook the table. So, whoo, Tamra lying. I didn't make those posts. Simon did that. Gretchen said, you always blaming someone else. You spin your lies, and you are a liar beyond liars. I said, not a liar, beyond liars. Whoo, child. Jen asked Tamra, why can't you just take accountability, child? And Heather says, because they're so busy going at each other, they can't see their part in this mess. Good point, Heather. Tamra wants to move forward. Can we just move forward? Jen asks, Tamra, why is this your go-to reaction? So Tamra like, what? Girl, don't do that. You be on my side. You supposed to be scared of me. Don't you go up against me. You could be friends with Gretchen, but you ain't Gretchen. Gretchen says, yeah, like, why do you just think that? So Tamara's like, well, just forget it then. And Gretchen is like, no. I'm not saying we can't move forward. She just wants to know, Tamara, why do you think the way you do? Why do you think in chaos you can just decide to want to move forward without resolving anything? That's what she's asking. So here go Tamara's immature response. She clapping because this BIT has been going asking me for 12 years. Gretchen's like, you have the same track record, same old dog and pony show. And of course, production had to help her with the scenes because she couldn't get it together. Thank you, production. So Heather and Gina said that they need to talk. They just need to talk, and then they can move forward. And then Tamra and Gretchen, they agree, but Gretchen wants some accountability from Tamra. Tamra says, but you got to let it go. You got to let all this stuff go and stop all this. Gretchen said Tamra needs to recognize what she's done to hurt people, and when she does, then they can move forward. And I'm like, Gretchen's like, are you not finna just be blowing smoke up my butt? Get on your knees, heifer. Get on your knees. And then the show ends. Oh, I didn't even go back to Shannon and her daughter. Okay, well, did we talk about love? Yeah, love. So the daughter, she's doing good. She's 23. She graduated from Baylor. She lives in New York. She's been living there. She's a New Yorker. She works out every day. She's lost weight. She looks good. I think she broke up with her boyfriend. She's just gonna date. And she has a good job working in sports. Go, Sophie. Okay, so the episode ends, child. Emily, she still got that fat girl living inside of her. So over at the buffet part in the restaurant, she had picked up an egg and she put it in her purse. She said she was going to eat it on the way home. She thought the egg was boiled, y'all. So they asked, did you put an egg in your purse? She pulls it out, cracked it. It's cracked in her purse. Yolk is everywhere. Child, the egg was raw. And besties, that was the end of the episode. Boy, I enjoyed this season. Who is the production company? I got to look it up because this is good. This is how, when you return back to your platform, this is how you're supposed to bring it. Get in front of things, confront folks, talk about it, smooth it out, and then move forward. But Katie did apologize. Shannon is living within her boundaries. Shannon looks good, you guys. She looks good, but honey, she gonna get off in Katie's butt next week, and I can't wait. Well, you meet me back here, okay? Saturday, Love and Marriage Huntsville, honey. I'll put that video up on Sunday, sometime Sunday. Then we got Basketball Wives. We only have 2 more episodes of Basketball Wives, so they will end with Real Housewives of Atlanta because we got 2 more reunions. There will be no reunion for Basketball Wives. They said the ratings are very low, but that's not it. Because Jackie and Chris and Chantel, they're gonna fight next week's episode. So there's no reason to have a reunion because I bet you Jackie wouldn't even come if they did have a reunion. And it will fall flat without Jackie being there. It's nothing to talk about because we don't even know who Denise is. Her story never unfolded. Brittany's, we don't need to see her and none of her high jibs, her jabs, high jabs. We don't need to see any more of that. Yeah, so that's that on that, besties. And then Love After Lockup will return August 1st. I can't wait. So I got my schedule, you guys. I got my schedule. So we got Love and Marriage Huntsville Saturday, which I can't wait because we will be seeing the season without Melody. How will this pivot? I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait. But that's it, besties. I'll be back with another recap. Bye, besties.